it is my honour and great pleasure to welcome Claudia. Claudia, thank you ever so kindly and welcome. How are you?
Hi, Daniel. Thank you for having me. Thank you for introduction. I'm very well. How are you?
I am, I will say, effervescent. Thank you kindly. Before we do get started, we would love, we're waiting patiently to hear more about your experience, but we would love to ask the audience a question first in a poll sense, so you and I can understand what people's motivation for attending as well. So we're going to put up a poll just now. Why did you attend today? Are you interested in accelerating your career, your existing career? It might be UX aligned already. You wanted to hear, obviously, from our special guest in Claudia that it has completed the program. We want to hear more about the program. If you've got another reason for attending, feel free to pop that in the chat. But we'll let people click what is most relevant for them, and we'll come back to that in a moment. But Claudia, tell us about yourself. Firstly, you've only very recently completed the program. Tell us what you were doing even prior to considering studies, I guess.
Right. So hello, everyone. Thank you for having me today. I'm a product designer, very freshly certified, as Daniel said. The truth is, before I considered this program, I graduated my university in marketing and Spanish in 2022. And the truth is, I didn't really feel like this was the right fit. So I thought I'm going to give myself some time to discover, to see what's out there. And I got myself a cabin crew job. I thought I'm going to travel, I'm going to see the world, which I'm just so passionate about, and kind of see what comes back. And then, unfortunately, that fell through. After months of background checks and months of completed legal documents, for me and hundreds of other people, the job fell through no fault of our own. And at that moment, I was left with no plan B for the first time in my life. And the truth is that I knew UX. I knew what UX was. And throughout my whole university, really, I thought about it and I thought, wow, that sounds really cool. Like talking to people, improving products, 100% something what I would want to do. But I always thought, no, it's not for me. I don't have the right skills. I don't have what it takes. And fast forward to when I was left with no plan B, I thought it's time to stop making excuses and get real about it, you know? And I sat down with myself because it was a really difficult time when I was kind of left with nothing. I sat down, I've spoken to industry professionals. I looked into it and I thought, right, make a decision. And I did make a decision. I thought, this is what I want to do. I want to make a difference. I want to make the technology more accessible to everyone. And after I made the decision, within 2 weeks, I saw the ad for the course, the KCL and Forthright course, and this is how I enrolled. Really, it was all sort of meant to be, if you will. And this was, I won't exaggerate if I say that this was the best decision in my life.
That's fantastic, and I'll dig a little deeper into your decision-making process. But it sounded like, number one, out the marketing efforts that we put into the program targeted you at the right time. So having studied marketing, I think we can give that one a tick. But you were looking obviously at a number of different programs. When you saw it first, I guess, what was it that attracted you to this in particular? What stood out for you?
The truth is the industry experience, the fact that we were working with industry experts. I saw this and I thought, right, this is something I'd want. I don't want to go through another 4-year university type of learning, because the truth is that I got the confidence now. I wasn't half as confident after 4 years of marketing in Spanish. And it's because of the fact that I worked with industry experts. So I knew that the people who are teaching me, they are on up to date with trends, up to date with methods, up to date with everything that's happening in the job markets. And this is what stood out for me the most. And that's why I decided to go with KCL and Forthright.
Good on you. And then you obviously read all the literature and you booked a time with your enrolment advisor. How was that process?
Absolutely. So as far as I remember, I saw the ad, I went onto the website and I saw the program at first. I was super happy with this. So either I sent an email or I filled out a form and someone called me, and that was amazing because I could ask questions about financing, any other plans, if about the intensity of the course. So yeah, absolutely. I would say that this was really as if it was a personalized experience, because I understand that everyone has different either financial situations or other commitments. So actually speaking to someone and asking questions, hey, do you think I can do this with this, and that, was definitely a game changer for me as well.
Oh, good. That's really good. Okay, we'll close the poll shortly if anyone hasn't submitted yet, and we'll take a look at that. I understand someone's mentioned that there's a bit of audio issues. Thumbs up if you can hear us okay, if you can use the emoji, and if there is an audio issue, we'll sort it out. But no, it seems as though it's okay for most. Feel free to jump out and jump back in if you, is it Kazia, if you're having an audio issue at your end. So it's important, I guess, when facing a life decision that you're guided in that sense. It's not a hard sell that you received, it's more guidance and have your questions answered. So you went through that process, which I think is invaluable in itself to discover what's right for you. And then the course commenced. Tell us what it was like. So, you know, for people that aren't sure, I said it's very practical. I'll start with that as a more direct question. How practical did you find the learning initially?
Honestly, from day one, we were given a case study. That's the thing. You had a content, so the theory, but at the same time, you were given a case study to work on. So obviously, we started from user research, MVP analysis, and our first task was to evaluate the MVP. So what MVP is a minimum viable product. We were given the designed app that we were working on through course 1, 2, and 3. And we were meant to look at it, play with it, and then give our feedback. How more practical can it get, really? You know, that's what I thought. I thought, okay, I'm actually seeing an app, I'm seeing issues. Then we sent our assignments, and we had feedback from the facilitator, again, industry expert. We could book time on one-on-one time with her as well to give a more personalized feedback. The truth is, you asked me about how practical it was. The truth is that now I'm working as an actual UX designer at a real life project, and the transition from a student to a product designer was seamless. I didn't even notice when it happened because I was working as a UX designer throughout the whole course. So I was making the decisions. The whole process was facilitated very much, but I made the decisions and I owned them, and that's the greatest view, I think. Well, one of them, because there is other more some or other aspects to it as well. But just having that confidence in making decisions and owning them, I think this is what the practice gave me, working on a real life case study.
That's fantastic. So that's a great way of describing it. Throughout the course, you weren't so much as a student in the traditional sense. You were practicing the role that you're now in. Just a reminder, if anyone's got any questions, pop them in the Q&A if you can, please, because that way other people can see and we can vote them up and down as well. So that's the practical nature of the program, and well, let's do that now. Let's go through the program. So you've done course 1, course 2, and course 3 that I outlined at the start, and then you work on an industry project. What was that like?
It was challenging. It was new because we were working in groups as well. So obviously, course 1, 2, and 3, it was individual project. We would meet for a once a week session with a facilitator, but essentially it was an individual project. Whereas employer, that was group. And it was challenging. It was new because we all came together with our own knowledge, our own habits. and tried to create a project. And honestly, we did a very good job at it. I'm gonna brag, but it was a huge success. And the truth is that what we came with, we continued learning even through the employer project, because we applied it to practice, but I also got to learn from my peers. So I thought I wasn't as strong in, let's say, user research. Someone, for example, was stronger in that. They outlined the questions, and I thought, wow, that's a really good way of doing it. Could you teach me how to do it, or could you give me any advice? And then let's say I was stronger in UI, so I was in charge of the whole design part of the project, you know. And the truth is that we also we each one of us were a team lead for the week, so we were in charge of the assignment for the week and planning our workload. So not only did I get the experience of working on a real life project with an actual client, which I'll dig into it later, because that's a very important thing as well, to work with an actual client. But I also got to learn from other people. We worked on our time management, on distributing workloads, and this is why it was so easy to transfer to an actual professional job.
Fantastic. Do you want to touch on that? I think someone did put one in the chat regarding your outcome. You received an outcome during the program.
Yes, I was actually recommended by the facilitator. So honestly, this was a dream come true, because the truth is that industry is quite competitive, and having your portfolio stand out and attract, well, sell yourself essentially, can be a challenge, and I'm not going to lie. But we have help from KCL, which I'm sure Daniel will touch upon later on. And yes, I got recommendation from my facilitator, and I'm currently working on the project. And as I said, the transition was so seamless. I could not be happier.
Good on you. That's so good to hear. And it's, I guess, testament also to the facilitator being industry linked, knowing what's required for, as you touched on, and how to make your portfolio shine, as we say, but also being industry linked is to know what roles and requirements within his or her network as well. How do you then, so you've picked up a career outcome during the program, which is fantastic, but then how do you juggle your study time and your work? What was the commitment like?
It was challenging at times. And what got me through it was time management and planning ahead of time. This is something that there is no magical solution. At the end of the day, you have to sit down and you have to do the job if you want to learn it. If you want to learn and if you want to be a good designer, you have to sit down, you have to do it. And what I did, I knew when the deadlines were happening. I planned around it. I looked at the content and I saw, right, this is quite heavy. Let me do it. Let me start ahead in the week, even if I had to sacrifice something, because let's say social life a bit. Then the next week was a bit lighter. So that's when I met with friends. That's when I picked up a few more shifts, for example, at work. And that's what really got me through the project. And believe me, there were people with children, with full-time work, with newborn babies even. So it's definitely doable. It's definitely doable. And you do get so much support from KCL that the truth is I finished the course and it went like this, even though I had some personal circumstances as well. With the help that I got, I don't think it could have been any easier. I promise you that.
Oh, good on you. So planning, and there is some sacrifice. It's an intensive program over a 6-month period. That's evident. Tell us about the support. So you've mentioned your facilitator that supported you and obviously recommended you for a role. But other than that, I've touched on already the success manager and career coach. Tell us what the support specifically is like from both of those methods as well.
Do you know what? I'm going to be honest. At first, I thought, right, this is just an addition to a course. So the success manager, career coach, this is just going to be an addition to the main thing. And I focused on the UX, right, on the content. But the impact the both women had on me, I can't even stress this enough, because a success manager, that's my lovely Ioana that I'm meeting even tomorrow. I finished my course 2 weeks ago and I'm still meeting with her. because we created such a bond together, and she's just a wonderful person. If there is a right person in the right place, that's her. So again, success manager sessions, you have one every 2 weeks. That's a 15 to 20-minute session. And believe me, mine was at 9 a.m. on Friday. And sometimes I woke up and I thought, no, I don't want to do it today. Just don't. I'm so tired and I've had enough. But Joanna always managed to pick me up. Her Spirit and other success managers, they serve as the lift, as Daniel said, as the cheerleader to you. They will pick you up, they'll lift you up, they'll make you notice how much progress you've actually made when you start doubting yourself. So even when I had a situation where a bit of my personal circumstances impacted my course, one meeting with her, she told me, right, you can take an extension, you can do this, you can do that. Look after yourself. And that's the most important thing, because you can sacrifice a lot of for this course because it is an intensive one, but don't sacrifice your mental health. And success managers won't ever let you sacrifice your mental health for that. And honestly, with her support, every 2 weeks we met. She pushed us even during the employer project. And she's such an essential part to this program. So that's success manager. That's your every 2 week cheerleading time.
Cheerleaders.
And when
I love that description.
I think we should rename it. I think it shouldn't be success manager. It should be your personal cheerleader, 100%.
So true.
Yeah, but when it comes to career coaching, that's more of a long-term work and work on a more of a deeper level, And the truth is, I had my first meeting, I think, in November, and that's when I filled out the document that you share with your career coach. So you talk about your goals, your milestones, your weaknesses, your strengths, anything that might be blocking you, anything that you might need to work on in a professional setting. So I filled it out. Then I focused on the actions that we together set out. And I looked at the document a few weeks ago and I thought, who was that insecure girl? Who was that person that filled this out? I had obviously meetings with her where we worked on my LinkedIn, on my portfolio, on my branding as well, how I want to present myself to the world. And I thought, wow, to just notice, to see how much progress I've made, it's such a huge booster for yourself as well. Because as I said, I managed to create a career, I managed to create a whole new profession, but also it gave me so much confidence in myself as well. I know my place in the world. I know my place as a designer, and I couldn't have done it without career coaching and success managers.
That gives me so much joy to hear that from both your success manager and career coach support perspective, because that's what it's all about. It's sure, courses can deliver technical content, but to have it firstly, I guess, packaged in a business context where the value lies for an employer, but then to be able to showcase that and be supported to get through, especially when you're facing challenge, is everything. That's, I guess, what we pride ourselves in, especially, and to hear that you've leveraged that and benefited from that is absolutely everything for us. Couple more questions. Just a reminder for everyone to pop your questions specific in the Q&A as well. Couple ones that I've got. So what do you feel was the greatest triumph so far, either during or post the program?
I think having shared my personal story and looking back at who I was literally a year ago, and looking at who I am right now is, as I said, not only creating my career and finding my calling, because I do believe that UX product design, this is what this is what I'm meant to do, and I know I'm good at it, but also learning your value as a human being, as a person, because the truth is, jobs might come and go. You might lose a job, you might find a job, you might struggle to find a job, But with what I've gotten from career coaching, from my facilitator, from my success managers, no one will ever take that away from me, you know? So this is my greatest triumph, that I found myself and I found my calling, and with that you can go and you trust your own self. So you trust your decisions, you own them. You will make mistakes 100%, and I'm still learning, and you will never stop learning with everything new that's happening and emerging. But having that confidence and having that trust in yourself, I didn't have that a year ago, and this is my greatest achievement from the course.
Good on you, and thank you for sharing that. Honestly, it resonates so much with us, because when I mentioned at the start, we consult with industry first, and they were the ones that actually said, they don't need just the technical skills. They need people that can have that business application of skills, but more importantly, they want that human growth aspect, as well as the employability, obviously, people that can showcase. And so that's what we call the learning quadrant: the technical, the employability, the personal, and the business application thereof. So for you to articulate that in the way you did will resonate not only with hopefully those in attendance, but certainly the reason why we've set up the Career Accelerator the way it has been. What was your greatest challenge? I mean, you've mentioned you faced challenge. Did you have a greatest challenge course related during the program?
Do you know what, just to touch on what we were talking just before, the truth is that there are people on a different levels or different paths coming to this course. So you had me, who technically finished a degree but didn't really feel like it was the right fit. And then there was this woman who was a teacher, but then she had a baby, so she took a career break, and then she was rediscovering herself, you know, and so many other stories as well. So as I said, this isn't just about getting, as you said, just not about just getting a new career, kind of discovering yourself from the beginning.
That's a really good point, the diverse nature of your fellow learners that you correctly pointed out that you actually learn from. And we do have a great peer-to-peer engagement strategy of not only assessment, but those weekly sessions, and then obviously the industry project at the end. It might be interesting for people to pop in the chat function, not the Q&A, the chat function, what you currently do. And you'll find that there's graphic designers, there's psychologists, there's, as you said, teachers, there's all sorts of people. So if you can pop what it is that you currently do in the chat function, we'd love to see not only what you do, but you'll be able to see also what others do. On your
I think you asked me about a challenge.
Yes.
I think you asked me about the challenge, and I did circle back to a previous question, so I can jump on that now.
Good on you. Thank you.
No worries. The biggest challenge, I thought about this a lot, you know, and this was a tough one, because, you know, I'm such a problem solver. So whenever I see, it's for me, it's not even a challenge, it's a learning opportunity. So if some things I can't really do it now, I'll find a way to learn from it, take from it, and then grow as well from that. But I think what I struggled was balancing, at the end of the day, balancing the study time and the personal life, because the content sometimes was heavy. At the same time, I enjoyed designing. For example, when we got to that design part, I could spend hours in Figma, learning Figma, doing my little wireframes, choosing colors and all. And that I noticed I sometimes kind of lost myself, or I thought, maybe I should kind of circle back to looking after myself, because I loved it, because it meant I found my calling. But at the same time, in the long run, you know, we all know how we can end up when you don't really balance out, when you don't check in with yourself. So yes, balancing your personal life and study time, that's really valuable. And when you learn it from day one, that will be beneficial to you throughout your career, because, you know, you might think, I'm just starting, let me work 60 hours a week. Sometimes that's good, you can get so much out of it. But if you make a habit out of it, then obviously it can lead to a burnout. So it's really good to have that in check.
That's really, really valuable and so important. Yes, sacrifices to be made along the way, but reward for effort and being mindful. As you said, right, I've got only one or two more, and I'm just checking the time. Is there anything that you wish you knew before you started?
See, I don't think there is, but I know what I can share for the people who are wondering, who are still trying to decide, you know. I think nowadays you see UX on social media and you see those beautiful and captivating animations and designs, and you think, wow, this is just so amazing, and I'll get to do that. And I think it's important to underline that UX or product design, UX design, it's so much more than that. And then the visuals, that's awesome. If you're a UI designer, you get to do that, and that's your 90% of your job. But the truth is that UX encompasses so many other disciplines and so many fields, because first off, you have to understand your users. Are you listening to them just to listen, or are you listening to uncover their actual problems? Because a user will tell you, you know what, I'm annoyed because it's loading, the site is loading too slow. That's not the problem. The problem is they are trying to make, for example, make an appointment for a doctor, and they can't do it fast enough. So listening to users, then coming up, ideating the solutions that will bring value to them, but also to the business, because the truth is sometimes it works for the user, but if it doesn't bring money,
yes,
what's, you know, how are you going to overcome that challenge?
balance.
Yeah, that's the thing. So learning to manage your stakeholders, your developers, because your design might be beautiful, but can your developers bring it? Can your developers actually deliver it?
Yeah.
So I think just noticing that UX encompasses so much, and you have to have that perspective, but also you have to pick one, focus on one, pick one or the other, and manage that as well. And I think that's important because there might be some misconceptions in the social media as to how the design looks. And I love it so much because I get to use my psychology, my love for psychology. I get to talk to people. That, as you can tell, I'm a talker. I love talking to people. So I do love that, but people should be aware of that there is so much more to UX than just designs.
Good on you. Now there's some questions coming through that I'll get to now, and just a reminder for people, pop your questions in the Q&A. Most importantly, and going over, many of these are relating to the role that you've secured, but also your peers may have. And I know there's people in the audience that also have spoken with others or attended a previous webinar that I hosted with Siobhan, who may have been in your cohort as well. But do you know of other career outcomes? We've got to be careful of privacy and things like that, as we have to be with industry projects that we'll touch on once more. Often there's non-disclosure agreements, but you've heard of other career success stories from your peers?
Yeah, actually I did. I've heard of people securing jobs, and some people have secured the jobs right after they finished. Some are still working on their branding, on their personal projects, because the truth is that I created my portfolio. You are encouraged to create your portfolio as you go, because that's a huge project as well, to kind of put everything together in a concise way so that you don't just put text, but communicate it in a very, as I said, attractive and concise way, captivating way. But yeah, I've heard of people securing jobs. But the truth is that, you know, we obviously are focused on the jobs, and I wanted it so myself. I thought, no, I'm sending these resumes out and nothing comes back. I was getting annoyed and frustrated. But the truth is, and what also your career coaches will tell you, is that think about who you want to work for, what company you want to work for, because the truth is that you might want the job, but maybe it doesn't align with your values. For me, what's important is a supportive leader, a supportive mentor, to have other designers to support me through the project. And is it worth it to just get a job if I'm not supported? Especially at this very, very early stage of the process. This is where you learn your best practices. This is where you learn methods that will carry you throughout your career. And sometimes I promise you that I've waited my share of time, and sometimes it's better to wait than to go with something that doesn't align with your values.
Yeah, so important. And that's sustained success then as well. And that career coaching, I'll call it the program within the program, enables you to have the skills required to succeed not only in your next job, but you'll use them for every role that you apply for in the future as well. What industry are you happy sharing? What industry you're working in now?
I'm currently working in healthcare. So it's a few months. I'm a month in with the project, and I've got a month left because I'm hired on a project-based contract. So I'm working in healthcare, and I think I can share that I'm creating an e-commerce website. So it's actually healthcare, but connecting with e-commerce. And the truth is, I was so scared because at first, when I was defining what sectors I'd want to work with, I thought, no, I don't want to work in healthcare because there is so many regulations, there is so many things you have to watch out for. And I thought, no, not now, not yet. But then I was presented with this opportunity, and I thought, well, I have to take it because it was a huge opportunity, and also I'm working for a small business. So honestly, I'm talking with the owner, so that's really beneficial because I can listen to her, I can understand what she wants from this website, how she wants to create her brand, and honestly, so what I'm trying to say is sometimes your greatest challenge or sometimes your greatest fear will become your best friend, as you can see from my experience.
Exactly. And you only finished, what, literally a few weeks ago?
Yeah, I had my presentation 2 weeks ago on Monday, yeah.
Wonderful. We'll touch on that. Who can you may not be able to mention the specifics of the project if you're under a non-disclosure agreement, but you can certainly mention who you worked with on the industry project. Who was that?
Yes. So we were working with Creative Navy, which is a UX design agency. I can't say who the actual client was because we were working through them with a client. But the truth is, I enjoyed it so much because we were working with other UX designers. So they were giving us feedback as well as the client was giving us feedback, which allowed me to learn how to manage stakeholders on different levels. And that's very important to be able to manage your stakeholders, because if you can't articulate your ideas in a successful way, then they won't get you won't get your point across to the people you actually want to speak to. So as I said, working with that with such a major agency was definitely a new experience, and has helped me with what I'm doing right now.
Good on you. Creative Navy have been fantastic, supportive from the very conception of this program. Dennis, the CEO, we've done webinars with Dennis about UX in medtech previously. Feel free to jump on our YouTube, and Sam might be able to pop our YouTube link in the chat as well. But they're a top 10 UX agency globally, and the current group going through working with Sky on a product regarding Sky Glass, on a product regarding accessibility. And we've also had a group work with DocuSign on an amazing project there that had a great deal of impact as well. Did you have to go through many applications to get the job, or was that one of the first that you applied for? That's a question for the audience.
Yeah, no, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, I had to go through a lot, and the industry is competitive. There are a lot of designers trying to get the job, but the good news is that the industry is recovering, so there are more jobs coming up. So 100%, don't be too scared about it. And at the end of the day, so many industries are competitive right now. So I had to go through a lot of applications, but as I've mentioned before, I had the support that I needed from career coaches to make my portfolio stand out, to make my LinkedIn profile, to network, and to network, to reach out to people on LinkedIn, because sometimes there might be a job that isn't advertised on LinkedIn, you know, and pop a message, build relationships that will last longer than now, because now you're looking for a job, but in a year time, someone might think, oh, I had a chat with this person, let me go back, because they had good ideas, they were so nice to talk to, and that's how you build a network. And that's, I've never done it, and I was so scared of LinkedIn. I thought, no, I don't have anything else to put there. What am I gonna post about? I felt so not confident, but yeah, I've done it, and I love LinkedIn now. I'm on there every single day.
Good on you. That's a really good point that you make as well, because everyone in the audience will have a range of transferable skills into UX. And I mean, you mentioned the teacher, and I know who you mean, that went through the program. But when designing classes and learning outcomes for people in a classroom sense, she may not have, I think I spoke to her originally, wasn't aware that there were a number of transferable skills, even from her previous profession, and everyone has experience in UX. It's the design component really, and some of the technical and the business application of the technical that you mentioned as well. But if you think of how many products have a digital component now, even physical products, Can of Coke has a QR code, and all those sorts of things that we know. Those transferable skills that the coach will help you realize and help you shine in your applications is a really important part of it as well. I've got one or two more questions, and then I'm going to stick around. I want to thank you for so much of your time as well. Someone has asked the question, I guess it's more for me, but the success rate of people who attend the course. We are so proud of the success of this particular, all of our career accelerators are amazing success rates of employment, but also success of completion through the program. I'm sure you saw it in your cohort that I don't think anyone left the course. I think we had 100% attendance throughout and success throughout, everyone passing successfully, which is unheard of for many, almost all online programs. And I think it's a testament to the content, the relevance of it, but also what you've articulated so well, the support as well. Our whole North Star metric is the career outcomes, and we can't wait to celebrate all of them as they happen. Some learners, just to let you know as well, there are some learners that aren't seeking an immediate career outcome. They're looking to advance their existing career and apply the learning to their existing roles within UX. Others actually finish the learning and then pick up the career coaching, which is flexible. So they're building a new skill base to then have the confidence to apply for roles, and they'll pick up the coaching for 3 months post the program, which I think is a really positive thing for people to recognise that they can do as well. Someone's asked here, can you list the groups they've worked with through the program? I'm not sure what you mean, if that's the industry project component that I've discussed. So Creative Navy have been a great supporter and continue to be. Sky, we did a really interesting one with Sky where we had our product management career accelerator students and our UX design career accelerator students work together on a project, which has been hugely successful. DocuSign is an average as well. Someone's asked, what's the average age range of the last cohort? I think I can possibly answer this from a generic point of view, but the majority of our learners are more mature, so it's aimed at postgraduate. So it's almost 30s, early 30s is the actual average age, and we have a higher proportion of women than we do men in the program. Most, if not all, are bachelor degree or postgraduate degree qualified. 80% are in the UK at this current point in time, and there's others from the Middle East, from Europe as well. Did you have anyone in your cohort from wonderful and different places?
Right, there was definitely someone from Turkey. So, yep. Right, she lived in Turkey. I'm currently in Poland, although for the majority of the course I was in the UK. And some people live in the UK, but they definitely have different backgrounds. So
Yep.
yeah, there is and that's the thing. You get to work with multinational teams, which is amazing to put on your resume that you have that experience as well.
Yeah, good point. Very good point. Anything else you wanted to touch on, I guess, before I've got one more question, and that's your top 3 tips for our audience, but anything else we haven't covered that you feel we should regarding the program?
Right. I don't think there is anything I want to add. I think I've covered the best outcomes that you can get out of it, and I'll share my 3 tips when Daniel asks me the question, because yeah.
Certainly. There is one more question regarding portfolio. Can you see it? I'm not sure if yours is public, but there's certainly some that are, and we'll share that. We can share that, or we've got that in posts on our blog, on our website as well. But it's certainly a really, really important part of the program. Conscious of time though, as well, your 3 top tips for deciding whether to apply for the audience.
Right. I think it's a huge commitment, and I think both Daniel and I recognize that it is a big decision, and for me it was a life changer. And I think what I would recommend you to do is, first of all, speak to industry professionals. Reach out on LinkedIn, because people are happy to talk to you if you ask them, hey, I'm thinking about that. What do you do on a daily basis? Find out what they do on a daily basis, so that you're aware what your responsibilities are going to be like. And second of all, evaluate yourself and your skills, because as Daniel said, a lot of the skills are transferable. For me, I thought for so many years, no, I'm not good at UX. No, this isn't for me. I realized that I was using most of the skills, communication, empathy, attention to detail. I was using them, but in the wrong jobs. And the technical skills, you get to learn all of them. Figma, research methods, you get to learn them. So the truth is, first of all, speak to professionals. If you get a yes from that, if you find yourself that you want to do it, evaluate yourself. If you think, right, I'll be the right fit, then my third advice is just take the leap and trust that you'll get so much out of it. Because when you're making the decision, you won't ever know what the outcome is going to be, but you have to trust and you have to take that leap, which is what I did. As I said, it was happening all very quickly, and I'm so happy that I did it, and that I invested my money and my time in this, because I think I got so much more than what I paid.
That's so good, and it's so important for a return on your educational investment. I get frustrated. I'm so passionate about education, but I get so frustrated with the lack of return, because in our day and age, if your content's more than 12, 18 months old, it's actually not providing the value. But also, if it's not relevant practically in an industry sense as well, but combining the best. And you said research before, and King's a world renowned for that. Thank you. There's a couple of quick questions. Can the course be online? Yes, it's 100% online. If there's other questions, could age be a barrier? I think Daniel and I are the same age. No, I'm probably older. I'm a very mature person. But no, I think it's a great thing to consider, be it, I'm not sure your individual circumstances, be it to advance your career existing or to make a career change. But I don't think age is a barrier. And actually, I think the more mature you are, the more transferable skills you can certainly offer. So I'd be happy to have that discussion with you individually if you want to message me as well. And lastly, before I do say thank you once again, Harjit has asked, have you seen the space change from UX designer to product design, or do you see the amalgamation of both in the roles of the future?
I think there is a huge intersection between these two. You can see roles for product design, you can see for UX design, and the truth is, majority of the responsibilities are the same, and these will differ from company to company, not necessarily from a job title. UI designer, if someone is hiring for a UI designer, that's different because that's primarily visual, but UX and product, primarily call myself a product designer, but I'm also applying for a UX design job. So there is a huge intersection and they overlap.
And the product related content, especially course 3, enables you to straddle both really in that regard. So that's a really good question, Harjeet. Thank you ever so kindly. I'm going to stick around for more specifics on the application process, the funding of the payment plans and so forth that are available. Thank you, more importantly. Thank you not only for so much of your time, but I think your engagement within this process and the openness in which you've shared your experiences and journey gives us all a really great sense of exactly what it's like, but also the benefit that you've received and that of others as well. We can't thank you enough for your time, Claudia. Thank you ever so kindly.
Oh, thank you, Daniel. Thank you so much. Thank you for your time. And honestly, I was happy to share. If anything, you can contact me on LinkedIn. Contact Daniel. He'll put me in touch with you if you have any more questions. I'm happy to help. Take care and honestly take the leap because it's so worth it. Hope you have a lovely day. Bye.
Cheerio. Thank you. And for everyone else, I'm going to stick around for another few moments to answer any either course-specific questions that you have or walk you through what a successful application looks like as well. To commence that process, though, just to finish off and to reiterate a lot of what Claudia mentioned, I'm so pleased to hear some of the things that she mentioned about her growth, both professionally and personally during the course, because that is so important. And I think if you can demonstrate that to an employer as well, that you're not only skilled in UX, but you've got the business application knowledge, which is obviously embedded in the program, but that you have those soft skills that are also embedded in the program, and you can showcase them in an employability sense, that learning quadrant is exactly what it's all about, and that Claudia articulated so very, very well. So reminder, 6-month online program, 3 courses, and then the industry project following, career coaching and the success manager support, which is, I think, undervalued from the perspective of people inquiring. So many career outcomes we celebrate on a daily basis, both internally and externally, resulting from especially the career coaching, but also the success rates of people in the program are often down to the facilitator and success manager support as well. Payment plans that are available. So for people that aren't aware, the program's £7,995, and your enrolment advisors do have a special offer, especially for those attending, where you can get a considerable concession on the price as well. That can be reduced by close to £1,500 for this presentation as well. We would love more stories such as Claudia's and want more people to experience the benefit thereof, but there are also options for people to spread payments out over either a 6 or 9 month plan with no fees and no interest associated with that. So that's a great way in which to commit to yourself to achieve the things that you're seeking to achieve, obviously, in a way that hopefully you can fit life and study in at the same time in a payment plan that suits you. For those that would like a longer payment plan option, there's a really important point here. We do have a partner in EdAid. They can offer a 24-month payment plan option on application. There is 2 things with that. There are no discounts available for that payment plan, and there are requirements for a finance application of being either a UK citizen or a long-term resident of more than 3 years, or 3 years to go on your visa and current employment as well. Again, the best thing that you can do is speak to your book a time with your enrolment advisor and grab that in the chat there as well. I've got there's some questions in relation to the actual course before I move on to the application process. Niki's asked, I've got a 9-to-5 job. Would this course be doable for someone with a full-time position? Absolutely. So it is designed to fit in with you more so than you fit in with university. And what I mean by that is that's about that 15, 16 hours a week or so, which is a significant commitment, don't get me wrong. It is intensive. However, it is designed to fit in with you. So There isn't a synchronous session, a live session per week that you'll attend. They are recorded. If it's your birthday, the last thing you want to do is attend university, so you can always catch it up. But always best to attend live. There's great interaction and breakout rooms with other learners. There'll be master classes along the way where you'll get to learn more about AI and impacting UX. We've hosted numerous sessions on AI already. And that's been most beneficial for learners to supplement that content, as well as then industry partner webinars, or we've got a recruitment partner as well. So there'll be other sessions that are non-compulsory but highly beneficial. But the majority of learning is asynchronous, meaning you can choose when and how study fits in with your life. The best thing to do is a couple of things. Speak to those around you about your commitment and let them know, whether it's your partner, whether it's your work, whether it's kids. I'm going to make this commitment to bettering my career and hopefully earning more in the longer term. This does require for the next 6 months for me to make that commitment. That may mean that I can't say yes to drinks on a Friday night every week, or whenever it is that you choose to do so, because I may have an assignment due, or kids, Saturday's going to be mum or dad's study time. This is for the betterment of the family. Support me in this, and the pride that they'll have in you achieving that, but also being a graduate, a King's College London graduate of the Career Accelerator, will no doubt be very, very impressive for them to look up to and aspire to in the future. So engage others in your decision as well. Just checking the questions. Can I find employment with this course alone? Yeah, many have, and we've articulated, I think, at length the benefit of that coaching aspect, but also the way the content is positioned is for you to be much more not only employment ready, but stand out, because the industry have helped design this content. It is exactly what they're looking for skills in this discipline as well. You've got my email address. Feel free to reach out directly as well. How many portfolio projects will I have? So, Loco, great question. You'll have presentations and projects throughout the all 3 courses. So you'll develop your portfolio along them. So there are projects and presentations that can be supplementing your portfolio, and then there is that industry-based project at the end that you certainly get assets from, in which to contribute to your portfolio. So each of those 3 units, you'll have a series of opportunities to blend in a portfolio from both a project and presentation sense as well. Would it be okay to do the course even though I have no background in this field? To be honest, most learners, 60, almost 70% of our learners are career changers from all sorts of background. Graphic design, architects. We've got architects both in the program, and I know that there may even be one in attendance that is seeking to commence. And thank you also for attending. I think you may have heard about the program from another alumni of the program and the value that they've obtained. And if that's the case, welcome. There are teachers, as discussed, but there are all sorts. Many have no experience, and then there's 30% of learners that are experienced in UX that are looking to formalise their learning and apply the deeper learning aspects of the program into their current roles and so forth. So yeah, there's no problems with someone having no experience. In fact, that's the majority of people, not the minority. Just checking if there's any other questions. So, application process. I might get Sam to pop the application link in there as well, because there's a few things just to navigate the application. You're applying to King's College London, which requires either, as I mentioned earlier, an undergraduate degree or 2 years of professional work experience, shall I say. To demonstrate that, you need to upload a copy of your completion certificate at your undergraduate level or your resume. And you'll need, if you're applying with professional experience, you'll need to book a time with your enrolment advisor if you haven't already. And the last step of the process is to include a personal statement. Now, we'll include a link to the template of the personal statement, but I just want to touch on that because it is an important aspect of the application process. We're not seeking war and peace. What we do want to see is your story. Exactly, I guess, as Claudia shared with us, but your story about your motivation to study, what it is you're striving to achieve, how you fit it in with your life, things like that, your personal story. That's so important because it helps Kings ascertain, firstly, your eligibility outside of what is self-evident in your previous experience. But more importantly, we feel that is then used by your success manager and career coach for them to read prior to meeting with you to understand, for example, if any additional support or empathy would be required in their support of you, to understand what it is that you're striving to achieve and how they may be able to frame things enabling you to achieve that much, much sooner. So it's an important piece. It's just one page. There's 4 or 5 questions in that, and that's it. We can turn your application around within 24 to 48 hours. It's not too late at all to apply for this presentation, which will see you finish toward the end of the year. Because as I previously mentioned, this week, next week, and the week after are onboarding, getting you set up to succeed in the program as well. The best thing that I can do is have you do is 2 things. Firstly, take on the advice of Claudia first and foremost. Pat yourself on the back, secondly, for looking to make a change in your life. I think it's most important that we recognise that if you're looking to change careers or you're looking to invest in a program to accelerate your existing career, that you're making a life decision. We understand that. Your enrolment advisors will certainly have a great deal of empathy for your own individual circumstance and intended outcome and guide you towards what is the best decision for you. That's the value in having that in-depth discussion with your enrolment advisor. But you're making a life decision. So commit to it, commit to educating yourself further, speaking to other professionals or fellow learners or myself, or certainly my team, and those around you that may be impacted by your 6 months of diligent work towards you achieving your life decision or your life goal of changing careers, if that's the case. And then it's a matter of doing, basically. Claudia's, I think, articulated it so much better than I ever can to the benefits you've committed to yourself through attending today, which is a pat on the back for yourself and a step in the right direction. Now it's about taking the next step, which is either to apply, if you haven't already, to speak with your enrolment advisor, if you haven't, or myself, if you haven't already, and we'll look after the rest. We'll ensure that you are not only welcomed, that you are supported, but that your career outcome, which is what we are all striving to achieve with you, is celebrated at the end when you do achieve that as well. I'll end on that note. There is any sample portfolio done by previous students that is available for reference. Yes, we'll send that around. There are a couple that are certainly available and tied to industry projects, some of them as well. Thank you, everyone. I would like to thank you for committing your time. Hopefully I haven't taken up too much of your lunchtime, but I think it was well worthwhile not only hearing from our guest in Claudia, but hopefully inspiring you to take the next step in your either commencement, change or acceleration of your career, of which we look forward to welcoming, supporting and celebrating, as I said. Have a great day. Email me if you need any more info and I'll come straight back to you as quick as I can. Cheerio.